welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something I'm sure you're all interested in, and that's getting smarter, but not just like, memorizing more stuff.
Right.
Like more kind of real intelligence,
Yeah.
You sent in this article about how education needs like a total reboot, and it really got me thinking. So
It's a big one.
get ready to explore what real intelligence looks like
Right.
in a world that's like run by algorithms.
Absolutely. And I think this article is so timely because it gets at this question of if AI, like ChatGPT, has access to all the information,
Right.
what makes human intelligence valuable? What is it even for?
Okay, so the article jumps right into it and talks about this idea of true intelligence. And it really argues that it's not about just like cramming your brain full of facts, like it's some kind of
Like a hard drive.
hard drive.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's more about knowing which questions to ask.
Oh, interesting.
So, I mean, think about it.
Anyone with a phone can ask what the capital of Mongolia is, but
Right.
knowing why that matters, like what questions to even ask about Mongolia, that's a skill.
So it's less about like just knowing the what and more about understanding like the significance,
Yes.
the so what of information.
Precisely. And the article actually calls these big, important questions, like timeless questions, perennial questions. And these are questions like, what is the good life? Or what does it even mean to be human?
Wow.
And these are questions that philosophers have been wrestling with for centuries.
Right.
Folks like Nietzsche actually believe that wrestling with these questions, even without a clear answer, is in and of itself education.
So of memorizing,
Yeah.
like dates and battles for a history test,
Right.
we should be debating the ethics of war.
Yes.
That's a lot, but
It's a lot.
I can see why. Like, schools aren't always comfortable going there.
Right. And the article even criticizes modern education for putting so much emphasis on standardized tests and memorizing facts instead of this kind of deep critical thinking. And it actually goes so far as to say that with AI like ChatGPT, memorizing facts is basically obsolete.
Yeah.
Machines can do that better than we can.
Right. And why do we need to be walking encyclopedias when we've got like Google in our pockets, right?
Exactly.
So technology is making us rethink what it even means to be intelligent in the first place.
Yes. And a great example of this, the article talks about Elon Musk and SpaceX.
Okay.
And this idea of thinking from first principles. So instead of just trying to, build a slightly better rocket like everyone else was doing, Musk thought, okay, what's a fundamental question here? Why can't rockets be reusable?
Wow.
And that completely changed everything.
So instead of just, going with the flow, he kind of like questioned the whole system.
Yeah.
And the result, like a total revolution in space travel.
Exactly.
But how do we actually apply that to our own lives, that kind of first principles thinking?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Right.
And the article actually suggests that instead of just assuming, okay, here's the path, I go to college, I get a good job.
Right.
What if you take a step back and you say, what's my actual goal? Like, what am I actually trying to get to?
What do I want?
What do I want? Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a faster, cheaper, more fulfilling way to get there.
Right.
So it's about challenging those assumptions.
So it's like figuring out what matters to you, defining your own success.
Yes.
And then like working backwards from there.
Exactly. It's about thinking for yourself.
Right.
And it requires, a certain level of comfort with uncertainty, with not having all the answers.
Which, I mean, that leads to another question, which is, how do you actually teach that?
It's easy to say, think critically.
Right.
But how do we make that happen in a classroom? How do we make that real?
Well, the article argues that the goal of education should be to create a noble culture.
A noble culture. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
What is that what does that even mean?
So it means moving away from just churning out workers with, very specific skills and towards fostering citizens who are thoughtful, who are ethical, who contribute to society.
Right. Okay.
It's about more than just like you as an individual and your achievements.
Right.
It's about realizing we're all interconnected.
It's like, less every man for himself and more. Like, we're all in this together.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Because true intelligence isn't just about how much you know. It's about how you use it.
Yeah, to make a difference.
To make a positive impact.
And how do you measure that?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can't quantify with a test score or a GPA.
Right.
Totally. Which makes you think, Are standardized tests even the right tool?
That's a huge question.
Right.
The article really kind of grapples with that.
Yeah.
If we want to cultivate critical thinking,
Right.
problem solving, maybe we need to rethink how we even measure it.
How we test.
How we test.
Yeah.
Because it's about how well can you adapt to new information? Can you collaborate? Can you think creatively?
Can you deal with curveballs? Because life is full of them.
Life is full of curveballs, and it's not about knowing the right answer.
It's not about just spitting out facts.
It's about knowing what questions to ask.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, being okay with not even having the answer.
Being okay with ambiguity, with uncertainty.
Makes it hard, right?
Which is really hard.
Especially, like, I feel like so much of, like...
the way we're raised.
Like, the system wants the answer.
Exactly.
It wants the right answer.
Right.
And it wants it quickly and efficiently.
Yes.
And it feels like this article is saying, like, what if we just totally rethought that?
It's a radical rethinking of what education even is.
Yeah.
It's not just acquiring knowledge, it's cultivating this, like
a way of being.
Yes. This mindset.
Yeah.
That is equipped to deal with complexity.
Right.
Embrace uncertainty and just constantly learn and adapt.
And do it, like, ethically.
And do it ethically. Contribute to something bigger than yourself.
Right. So how do we even begin? How do we nurture that in a world that feels like it rewards, like, speed and efficiency and, like, getting ahead no matter what?
Right. It's a huge challenge. But like any challenge, any complex problem, the first step is just asking the right questions.
It's like this whole conversation comes down to, like you were saying before, asking the right questions.
Yeah.
So much of, I don't know, like the system, it feels like it's all about just getting to the right answer.
Right.
But what if instead of, trying to get students to memorize the right answer, what if we focus more on, like, getting them to ask the big questions?
Yes.
The important ones, the ones that don't have, like, an easy answer,
Absolutely. And imagine a classroom, like, where curiosity is celebrated.
Right.
Where there's room for debate, where it's okay to disagree, where you're encouraged to challenge assumptions, even the teacher's assumptions.
Wow. Okay.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, but then it makes you wonder, if we shifted away from, like, memorizing facts and toward this kind of thinking, would we even, like, need traditional schools?
Right.
Or would it look totally different?
That's such a good question. And this article, it doesn't claim to have all the answers, but it does give us this really powerful vision for, like, the future of learning.
Okay.
A future where education isn't just about you and your achievements, but about creating a better world, a more just world.
Right, right.
A more intellectually vibrant society, It's about recognizing that our minds aren't just, like, empty containers to be filled up with information.
Right.
They're tools that we can use.
Right, to make a difference.
To shape the world around us.
This deep dive has really got me thinking.
Good.
If you could leave our listeners with just one thing, one question.
Oh, that's easy.
One perennial question to think about.
Okay, so what if instead of asking what you want to be when you grow up, we asked what kind of world do you want to live in?
Oh, I like that.
And how can you use your unique talents and passions and interests to help create that world?
That's a good one.
I think that's a question that could spark a lifetime of learning and exploration and real meaningful action.
I love that. I think that's the perfect note to end on. So thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us. And remember, true intelligence, it's less about what you know and more about what you do with it. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing